All right, guys. Hello. It is November 21st here and getting close to that big Black Friday special coming up. So hopefully you guys are getting in on that and taking advantage of what's going on. I know it's crazy this year. The Black Friday specials started showing up in my email box like almost a month ago. It was like they were before even Halloween. We were starting to get Black Friday specials. I was like, wow, there's a lot of competition for the eyeballs this year. So, that being said, just like anything else, when you're looking at marketing, there's always competition for the eyeballs. And that's why this whole big idea thing is so important. Getting that right, figuring out what people actually want. And not just people, the people that you want to sell to specifically. That is really, really important. So that is something you want to definitely keep in mind and work on those big ideas, because if you don't have that in place, your marketing is going to not work right. It's not going to convert. Your advertisements are going to be very expensive, and you're going to probably throw in the towel, and that's just sad. That's just sad for everybody. So I would definitely recommend that you take advantage of what's coming up, all this madness coming up next week with the Black Friday. I am going to actually, I was going to wait, but I think I'm going to probably send mine tomorrow. I'm going to treat tomorrow as the pre-Friday Black Friday. And I'm going to probably send those out at that point. Um, Jeff's asking why so early. Seeing ads on TV even last night. It's just a competition for the eyeballs. Like I talked last week on the call, I went in. This was prior to Halloween. I went into a Home Depot and I was looking for an umbrella. Believe it or not, the umbrellas were all gone. The summer stuff was all completely gone, which that's understandable. But what wasn't understandable was the Halloween stuff was already gone, and it wasn't even Halloween yet. And all the Christmas stuff is out on the floor. That was just like a shocker. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Where am I? Do I even know what day it is? So that is, it's competition for the eyeballs. When you look at what your competitors are doing, you have to do them one better, or at least be on the same page with them. Otherwise, you're just going to get beaten. So we're already behind. I'm telling you right now, if you got Black Friday specials, you and I are both behind, because they've been, like I said, they started seeing Target specials in my email box like before Halloween. It was crazy. I just got another one last night. Now they're pushing all their TVs up to like 75-inch. Crazy specials, trying to get people through the door, because they know that there's going to be a flood of money spent. I believe, especially this year, because, no matter how much you hear about bad things going on in the economy and all that, I think that's a bunch of hocus pocus. I see people making more this year than they ever have. If you look at the, people in stocks and bonds, they're making a killing. There's a lot of money being made right now. Yeah, there's a few people that are struggling, but there always is. That's why, like in Forbes, it doesn't matter what year it is, 80% of businesses are going to fail. They're going to go under. That's not because of the economy. That's because of poor planning. That's because they didn't have a plan to begin with. They were doing things unrealistically, and and they go out of business. That's just common standard practice. That's been going on for a long time. Ted says, Adobe says $1 billion a day being spent. That's crazy. There's going to be a lot of money change hands here in the next couple of weeks, actually to the end of the year. And then it's going to start over. If you miss Black Friday, it's not the end of the world. There's something right behind it. It's called Christmas. And if you miss that one, there's something right behind it. It's called New Year's. If you guys are in any kind of a space where people do resolutions, like they want better things coming ahead in the new year, take advantage of that. If you're into anything that is health related stuff, and making more money is top of mind every New Year's. So if you're in that space, take advantage of that. You know, even if you're not in the retail space, I still think you should take advantage of the Black Friday hype and the Cyber Monday and all that. And Ted says Cyber Monday this year is expected to be the biggest day of the year. So, I mean, it's crazy not to jump in on that. I think, you know, it's kind of like the concept of if you want to win, you got to figure out where the stream is running and dip your net in there. You know, it's like the train is coming. All you have to do is lay down on the tracks. You don't even have to do it well. It's like even a blind squirrel can get a nut when there's this kind of hype and this kind of buying frenzy. And all you have to do is put timers on stuff, put limited times, special offers. It creates an enormous draw for people to buy and trigger them to buy now. I've done this with webinars. I've been doing this a lot in the last 6 months, very, very successfully, where we'll do a webinar and we'll do the offer. The offer is on the webinar, and the offer is only good for 72 hours. And we'll make a certain amount of sales on the webinar itself, live on the webinar, which is cool. You know, when you do a webinar, you like to see sales. But that's not where it ends. If you take advantage of the role, the momentum, what you do is there's a lot of people that won't show up to your webinar. You constantly email them for the next 72 hours. I think we hit them with like 8 emails in 72 hours, reminding them of the replay, reminding them of the impending deadline, and we got like probably 4 times the sales in the 72 hours following the webinar. I mean, that's a huge boost in revenue. If you're just doing the webinar and dropping it and not taking advantage of the hype and the momentum that was created by that buzz of the webinar, you're really blowing it. The same thing with all of these holiday opportunities. You know, you've got them back to back to back. There's almost one every month. There's something you can take advantage of. I know I did a training with Dave D. This was probably 20 years ago. Dave D's been in the business for a long time. He's involved with Dan Kennedy and, you know, all of their direct response marketing efforts and stuff. They're brilliant marketers. They've been at it for a long time. The internet's just a new medium for them. But I remember going to a Dave D seminar, and I think it was a 2 or 3 day seminar. And the whole premise of the seminar was to take advantage of every opportunity during the year. And he gave you this massive calendar. It was like the size of my desk. And it had, you know, it had all of the months broken down, and it had all the weeks and the months broken down on one huge calendar. And he pointed out there was like over 100 opportunities to do a marketing campaign throughout the year. That's like one every 3 days. It's crazy how many things you could take advantage of and have a reason to make an offer, a reason to have a sale, a reason to make money. You know, it was just like, if you want opportunities to make money, you just look at the calendar. And Chris is asking, do I have that list? I unfortunately do not. It was, like I said, it was like 20 years ago. But if you pull up Google and you just Google holidays and national days and stuff like that, you'll find that there's probably damn near one every day at this point. There's Father's Day, now there's Uncle's Day and Aunt's Day and Secretary's Day, and, you know, person that walks my dog day. It's like crazy. So, but you know, you've got the major ones too. There's a major one almost every month. Like January, you've got the New Year's. February, you've got what is it, Valentine's Day. March, I think March is St. Patrick's Day. You know, it's just like on and on and on. April, you got Easter. May, you got there's a national holiday in May. I think June, I don't think there's, well, June you got Father's Day. May you got, I think May is Mother's Day. I mean, seriously, you have a major event happening almost every month. If, in fact, every month. There's always something to take advantage of. You know, October, you got Halloween. November, you got Black Friday. Christmas in December. It's like they're everywhere. There is no shortage of opportunities to have a reason to make a sale. And people love that. They love to get a sale. If you look at, you know, I always say this, what works in the real world will always work in the online space. If you look at what has driven the retail market for the last couple hundred years, it's sales. What brings people in the doors? It's sales. What gets people excited to get out of their chair and go and buy something? It's a sale. So if you're that, think about yourself. If you consider your business that retail store and you're not doing sales, you're not moving people out of their chair to come buy your stuff. It's just that simple. You know, if you're sitting back and you're hoping that people will come and buy your stuff, and you know, I see people going out doing events, and they'll do an event, they'll talk, they'll speak out in public, and they don't make an offer. They don't have a sale. It's like, that's just crazy. I just don't quite understand it. Now, I know there's places where you can get opportunities to speak where they won't allow you to make a sale, but I'll tell you, they do. They will allow you to make a sale. You just can't transact dollars. If they say you can't sell from the stage, all they're saying is you can't transact dollars. You can still make a sale. As you guys know, I've talked about this many times. When you offer something and you're asking for something, that's a sale. If you're offering a free book or a free lead magnet and you're asking for their email address in exchange, that's a sale. The people with the stage don't see that. They don't see that as a sale. It's a loophole. If you're not doing that, if you're not making a sale of some kind, every time you have an opportunity, you're really blowing it. Now, here's the thing. When you make the sale with no dollars transacted, it's the same principle. This is the biggest mistake I see. People will get on the stage, or they'll have an opportunity to speak to a group of people. Maybe there's no stage involved. Maybe it's at a Kiwanis group or whatever. Maybe there's just a podium. Whatever it is, here's what happens. They say, yeah, go to my website and buy my stuff. Well, nobody's going to do that. They're hot right then when they're talking to you. That's when you make the sale. That's when you make the transaction. Right then. Don't send them somewhere else to do it. That would be like if you had them on your web page and you just did a webinar and you said, well, you know, I'll send you guys a link, and this makes me sick every time I say it because I do this. and I really shouldn't. I blow it constantly. So don't feel bad. Don't feel like I'm roughing you up, because I'm roughing myself up. But make it easy. It's like if you get them to opt in, let's say they're on your web page and you get them to opt in for something. Don't make them wait for a freaking webinar. Give them access to buy right now if you've got them in the mode. And Perry Belcher showed me that. I mean, he beat me up when he reviewed one of my sales funnels long time ago, probably 15 years ago. He said, let me see what you're doing. And gave him the address where he could opt in for my SEO Dominator Club at the time. And he opted in and he said, oh, okay, I see your thank you page. Where do I order? And I said, well, what do you mean? You just opted in. And he said, well, yeah, that's when I'm hottest. That's when I'm the most likely to order. I'm in flow. Where's the order button? And I'm like, it really made me feel like an idiot. But take note of that lesson. You know, get them while they're hot. If you've got them in front of you, don't send them to your website to order tomorrow or when they get home or after the airplane ride when a whole bunch of chaos happens between now and then. Hand them a freaking order form. Get them to fill it out. Get the sale. Get the money. You know, you go home and process the transactions at your leisure. But make the sale, close the deal right then and there when they're hot, when they're ready to go. You know, same thing, like, you know, with a webinar, it's a build up and then an offer. That's the way you do it. You know, if they don't take the offer, then you follow up, just like in the real world. You know, look at retail. They'll send the coupons out. What do you think they do if you don't come in? They send you another set next week. And eventually the follow-up will get you in the store. Eventually they'll hit you with the right offer at the right time. You'll get inspired. You'll get up out of your seat and you'll go to the sale. So that's what you want to do. And I see this stuff over and over and over. And everybody tells me, well, I'm not getting enough revenue. I'm not getting enough new customers. And I asked them, I said, well, how many offers did you make? How many people did you get to opt in? How did you grow your list over the last quarter? You know, break it down into quarters of the year. You should be looking at this stuff every quarter and say, what did I do bad? What did I do good? What did I do not at all? And what should I be doing? And change it for the next quarter. Don't wait a whole year. Don't let a whole year go by before you look at what you're doing. Look at, you know, how many big ideas did you create? How many people did you put them in front of? How many people opted in? How many people did you make an offer to? How many sales came from those offers? When you do that, so many people don't do that. And they tell me they're struggling. I'm like, really? I think I know why. The only way to get your numbers is by to do that, to take that action and make that happen. Once you do that, and you've got numbers in front of you, you can look at that and you can say, oh, this makes a lot of sense. If I tweak this, I'll get better results. If you don't have any numbers, you don't have anything to tweak. You've got nothing. So you've got to get off your asses and do something. It's, you know, it's like, I am so frustrated with people telling me they're not getting results and they're not doing anything. It's like you've got to move the needle. You've got to do the things that drive a business. You can't just open the doors and say I'm in business and have all your paperwork done and that's it. You know, you can't just build a cool website. You've got to actually go out and promote it. Just, you know, and it goes back to the whole thing. I've said this over and over and over for years, that there's nothing that works online that didn't first work in the real world. If you look at a business model in the real world that is working, you can model that. You can model that and take it online and you can make it work. But show me a business that in the real world, they did all their paperwork, they opened the doors, they didn't advertise, they didn't do anything, they didn't draw in customers, they didn't make offers, they didn't make sales, and they didn't go out of business. Show me one of those. I'd love to see it. I've never heard of such a thing. Yet people expect that to happen online. You know, build a beautiful website and they will come. That's a great dream. It's the wrong dream, but that's, you know, that's fantasy land. So, you know, and I apologize if I'm being harsh, but that is the reality. And the more or the faster I can get people to understand that, the faster they'll stop struggling, the faster that they will make money. You've got to do something to get something. If you see people that have things, they did things to get those things. You know, they didn't just sit back and have the stuff fall from the sky unless they got a trust fund. And that's not a repeatable thing for a business owner. You've got to leverage. You've got to not necessarily do the work yourself. I'm not a big proponent of hard work. Hard work is not where money is made. Smart work is where money is made. You know, leveraging things. So that's, you know, I've kind of ranted on about this for a while. Do you guys have any questions? I know there's probably stuff you know that you're working on or you need help with. Or Chris, go ahead.
Hey, John.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm actually here with Callie.
Oh, cool.
So I just signed up for the Kartra platform, walking through the videos with Dan and Callie. But so they signed us up also with the sign up. There was something called Webinar Jam, and
Okay.
what is that, and how does that work? Is that, I noticed that you're using Zoom.
Yeah.
Is the Webinar Jam part of Kartra? I asked them what it was, and they said it was owned by the same company.
It is. It was all of that stuff. Like all these major platforms were built by Andy Jenkins, who's now passed away. But Kartra, Kajabi, Evergreen Webinar Jam, all of those stuff came out of the same factory.
Huh.
And they were kind of, you know, in a progression. And it was interesting. Just yesterday, I had a meeting with Jonathan Kronstadt. He's the president now of Kajabi. I've known him for years. I didn't know he was in that position. He used to be with the digital marketer guys. And, you know, he sent a connection to me on LinkedIn, and I got back to him and I said, hey, you know, what are you doing now? And he said, I'm running Kajabi. And I'm like, really? I'm like, wow, I'd love to talk to you about that, because, you know, I've heard people telling me, you know, they're talking about Kajabi again, and they're talking about it because it's getting promoted again. And I know Craig was talking about it. Craig was thinking about jumping in on it, and I asked him, I said, why would you jump in on that when, you know, I'm pushing everybody on Kartra, and I think Kartra is awesome. And he didn't really have a good answer for me, and I told him I was going to talk to Jonathan this week, and he's like, oh, I'd love to hear about that. Well, I know at the last big conference I was at Las Vegas, Kajabi was there exhibiting and Kartra was exhibiting. They were right across the aisle from each other.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you could reach out and shake their hands from both sides. And I went to both sides. I went to somebody that I didn't know in both sides. And I said, tell me what's better about yours than the guy across the street. And I got the same answer from both sides. And I think it was bullshit, but I just had to take what I got. And they said, well, we don't know. They said, we don't know because we're not familiar with their platform. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me what's awesome about yours. And they didn't really even do a good job of that, which, you know, didn't really shock me. The guys on the show floor, they're not really salespeople. They're just warm bodies. But it was interesting to speak with Jonathan, who's the president of Kajabi now, and get his take on it. And, you know, he knows me. He knows he can't bullshit me, so he gave it to me straight. And he said, Kajabi was the predecessor to Kartra. Kartra was built on top of Kajabi with all the things that were forward-thinking. So he said Kajabi is probably a little easier and simpler to operate from a control panel standpoint for a basic beginner user. But he said it can't touch the advanced automations in Kartra, which is what I've seen. I mean, Kartra is awesome. If you want to do, if you're going to be selling stuff and communicating with lists and all that, you need to be able to know who has bought what. Because I've done this in the past before I had Kartra. This cost me so much money in the past because I didn't have that kind of marketing automation. I would send out a sale to my list, and I didn't have a way to segregate the lists and not send it to people that had already bought. And if I sent them a better deal, guess what? I had all kinds of refund requests from the people that bought in the last 90 days. They said, well, I want that deal. And it costs me more in giving money back than in new customers that I brought on every time.
Wow.
I mean, in the long run, it was okay because every time I bring a customer on, it's a lifetime value. So it didn't really hurt me in the long run. But man, it nips you in the butt to have to give money back. It's just like, why? Why did I do that? Because I didn't have a better way.
So the question was about the webinar jam. Do you know what that is, and does it integrate with Adobe, and is it worth? I know Callie's going to be doing videos. I'm just
okay. I'll tell you my experience with it, and I haven't used it for a long time. I tried it probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I was not impressed with it. Now, again, that was 4 or 5 years ago, so I can't speak to what it does today. But it operates on, I believe it operates on YouTube.
Oh.
I think it connects and uses YouTube to actually stream the videos. And it was fairly cumbersome to get it set up and get everything connected and all that. There's no reason that you have to have it. It's not like Kartra won't run without it.
Okay.
In fact, I use Zoom Webinar myself.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Zoom. I'm just I wasn't sure what the best platform to brand a cohesive tool set.
Yeah. Well, what I did was I actually created a funnel inside of Kartra that is a webinar sign-up funnel. When they sign up, they go right into my Kartra database. I can tag them, I can segment them, I can follow up with them just like you can with any webinar platform. And then when I use Zoom, I send them to Zoom to actually fulfill the webinar. But I do not make them register in Zoom. I get the open link. I say registration. When I set up the webinar in Zoom, I say registration not required. This is an open webinar for anybody. So it gives me a unique link. And then I put that unique link in my follow-up after they sign up. They get the link to join the webinar.
Okay.
So I'm completely sidestepping the webinar registration, and I'm using Kartra on the front end to register my webinar people. And that way it's all in Kartra. It's all smooth as silk.
Okay.
It's awesome. And I run the webinar. It gives me my recording. I put it into a replay page in Kartra, and then I start hitting them, clobbering them over the head with replay requests. It's like, here it is, guys. You missed it. I'm really sorry you missed it. It was awesome. So here's the link.
The replay is is like a product that you send out, or how does that work?
The replay is just a web page. It's just a web page with the video embedded in the web page. That's the video from the recording of the webinar.
Is that usually is it password protected, or do you?
No. No. As far as I'm concerned, the more people that get on it, the better. Like if I send that link out and they give it to 50 friends, they just did me a favor.
Oh, okay. So it is shareable within Kartra.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can actually tell them, hey, pass this out to anybody you think this would help. They're not in the database yet, but that's okay. If they make if I sell to them from the webinar, then they're going to be in the database anyway.
I see. And in the Kartra, actually the replay through Zoom, is that shareable, or do you upload that to like YouTube and so that it actually gets onto your channel? What's the
You
best?
can actually, what I've been doing is I'll take the video recording from the webinar, I load it up to my YouTube account so it's open to the public, and then I take that and I embed that into the Kartra page.
Okay, that's smart, because then you get
Yeah.
YouTube distribution
Yep, exactly.
through the
And
file.
the other thing too is Kartra will do your videos. They will host your videos for free, but there is a charge for bandwidth.
Oh.
In your level, whatever level you're on, you get a certain amount of included in that. But it's not like if you're running hour webinars and you've got hundreds of people on them, you're going to smoke that bandwidth up in no time, and then you're going to be paying overage fees. That's why with the longer ones, I put them on YouTube. I'll use YouTube's bandwidth, and the stuff it belongs on YouTube anyway. So
Yeah.
no reason not to do that. Now, if you're doing videos for
That's what he was just saying. You take the video that you've had it, and you upload it to your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Now, if you're doing videos for marketing purposes, like a little 2-minute intro video, and it has a click at the end and all that, you want to have Kartra host those because you can get all the analytics off it. If you're doing like training videos and you need to know if somebody's gone through it, Kartra will monitor that. Or if you send out like, a marketing video and let's say it's 10 minutes long, and you need to know if they got to the 8-minute point because that's where the offer was, and you see they stopped at 6 minutes, you can send them a follow-up email that says, hey, for some reason, the phone probably rang and you probably got disconnected or whatever, but here's the link to pick up the video where you left off. We were just about to the offer and you missed it.
Wow.
Yeah, think about that. Kartra allows you to do that.
Wow, that makes the people feel like, whoa, they are paying attention to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Kartra's analytics are phenomenal, and that's why, Jonathan from Kajabi, that's what he told me. He said there's nothing like the advanced automations in Kartra. I mean, he's the president of Kajabi. He told me that. So that's respectable of him to admit that.
Yeah,
So-
why don't they have that in there?
So why did they branch off with Kajabi versus Kartra? Do you know?
I think they've got so many customers. I mean, Kajabi is huge. They've been selling Kajabi for 10 years probably. So if they took their simple interface and they added all of that kind of functionality to it, they'd probably have a huge can of worms, and they probably know that. Their customers are happy.
Yeah.
Their customers are perfectly happy, and they've got thousands of them.
So with our clients, I have about 40 clients that this Kartra may be applicable to. My concern is getting them on board and then with no customer support follow up with Kartra, because as it is right now, they only respond essentially via email. How do we sell that, or how do we get a support system as an upsell for customers that need a little bit more handheld?
So what you did right there was you unearthed a problem. And wherever there's a problem, there's always an opportunity. So I'll tell you, because that problem's come up for me as well. The opportunity that's on the other side of it is to offer webmaster services where they don't have to do it. You'll just handle that stuff for them. You become their support. And that's what I've done. I'm actually offering webmaster services now, and people are jumping in on it. I charge $99 a month for it.
Okay.
I outsource it. I have a team that's been working with me for quite a while on Kartra, so they know as much. They actually probably know more about it than I do, and
So
I'm pretty good with it.
So are they responsive over the phone or chat, or what's the medium by which they?
What we do when we offer the webmaster services, they're not really looking for support on how to work Kartra anymore. all they're looking for is to get stuff done. So I put them in Basecamp, and we set up a project. They have a login for Basecamp, and my outsourcers have a login for Basecamp. They post what they need. The outsourcer does it, post back, done. What's next? Just awaiting your next, it's like a genie. What's your next wish? And people love it because they don't have to mess with the technology part. For business owners, that's a huge hurdle, is that technology piece. They don't want to get in and learn how to do a marketing program.
Right.
Yeah.
They just want to, do their business and serve their new customers. And, if they need a phone number changed, they want to pop it in Basecamp and have it magically appear in the morning.
Right. Okay. So you set up a Basecamp, sort of a support tracking system, and say, all requests go here, and then they basically handle it in the brand of what your internet dominators. Because in our case, we have our brand, Web Your Masters, but our biggest challenge is that I get freaking called at Friday at 6 o'clock in the evening from a client says, we're doing a conference tomorrow. I need this and that changed immediately on Infusionsoft. And we're like, it's Friday night.
Okay. Well, no, I've had that too. I mean, I've been in this business for a long time, and I've had that. And what I found, it's a matter of training. You have not trained your clients yet that kind of madness costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like I had clients that decided that they did not want to send their requests in through the proper channels that I had set up. They wanted to call my cell phone. And I set up a system for that where I said, I am happy to take those cell phone calls, but they're $100 a minute. So go ahead and call me up. That's emergency support. And I told them, I said, if there's something wrong with the server, if there's something wrong that I should have taken care of, that calls on the house. If it's a true emergency, you're telling me my server's down, that calls on the house. And I'm going to be on it like stink on shit.
Okay.
But if you're calling me for some nonsense that should have gone through the proper channels, that's $100 a minute.
Right.
And that solved that problem real fast.
Okay.
They decided it really wasn't that tragic, and they put it in the right way, and everything was good.
Okay.
And the other thing too is if you answer calls that are not scheduled, you're training people that that's appropriate.
Right.
It's perfectly okay to let calls go to voicemail if they're not scheduled.
So have you experienced using Slack versus Basecamp? What is the difference in the platforms?
I've not worked with Slack before. I've had Basecamp now for a couple of years, and it's just a project management system. So if there's another one that works for you, there's nothing magic really about Basecamp. What I liked about it, it's $100 a month and it's unlimited projects.
Okay.
So I don't know how the other one prices, but for me to have unlimited projects, because I have a shitload of projects, I don't want to have to pay for them by the piece.
Yeah, because we're also looking at Asana as well. I wasn't sure.
I've heard of that one, but I'm not familiar with it. Usually, if I find something that fits the bill, if it's not broke, I don't try and fix it.
Okay.
I get systems in place that work, and I never look back. I'm not looking for like what's the next latest and greatest. I'm looking for what makes my operation run smooth.
Okay.
And until it stops running smooth, I'm not looking for other options.
Okay.
I love that.
I don't have shiny object syndrome. I have making money syndrome.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Callie, did you have any questions about
Oh no, not so far.
All right.
I'm just, yeah.
So we're still
Step one,
in
step two,
listening mode.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
cool.
Yeah. Cool.
There's Mr. Wolf there.
Yeah, we're packing. Oh, hey. Hey, Jeff.
You're still packing up?
Yeah, we've got to be out on December 1st.
Oh, wow. That's coming up.
Yeah, and we're moving to Maine on December 6th. So.
Yeah. I'm going to have to compete with Mr. Wolf there with that fancy background.
How do you do that?
How's that? I can play that game.
Love the Caribbean.
I can even go underwater if I have to.
Is that a green screen behind you?
I have it tuned where you don't really even need a green screen. Like you can see my fish is just behind me.
Yeah.
But I do when I have like client meetings, I run this one, so it looks like I'm actually in an office.
Looking the water.
Yeah. And I will actually put the green screen up because this one has some kind of glitches because it's set to be extremely sensitive to just pick up anything behind me.
Is that a software that does that, or is that all part of?
It's actually Zoom.
Zoom.
That's built right into your Zoom. You could do that right now.
Cool.
It's the little button next to stop video. There's an up arrow, and choose a virtual background.
That's cool.
That's all it is. It's just one
Oh my
click.
God.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So if you had a green screen behind you, it would come up perfect, like Jeff. He's got his.
Cool. That's very cool.
Yeah. So,
Well, this is our real world over here.
Well,
well, this is my real world too. I sit here and hang out with my fish behind me, and he's been keeping me company for the last 40 years.
But thank you for telling us about this green screen thing. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's a
really
good
cool.
idea.
Thanks.
Oh yeah. If you're doing meetings, and you don't want them to see that you're at home,
Yeah.
just fire it up. Put a
Right,
high-rise
your robe.
luxury office.
Or your robe. You can just put your head there.
So if you have a green screen, it doesn't break up the background of your hair or whatever.
It's a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pixelate a little bit here,
Yeah.
but we used this setup. It was a different camera and a little bit of lighting to work on shadows for doing a Zoom remote interview for our TV show. Came out great. Looked good on the big screen. You can see just a little bit around. My hair is so thin, I either have to plaster it down. Told my wife I was thinking about shaving my head so it wouldn't pixelate. She vetoed that.
You know what I do when I'm doing the green screen thing? I usually just move up a little closer like this.
Yeah. So you don't see the tip.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That way you don't have the freaky hair issues up top. It does make me look like I'm bald though, so I'm okay with that.
Me too.
So can it be a white background as well to clear it, as long as it's not broken?
I think green or blue is typically the
Best.
the best, yeah, because white, there's a lot of white in just about everything.
Yeah.
Like the highlights of your glasses, it would see it white.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of funky if they could see through your head. Because wherever it picks up, it's going to show that. Like if you have a green shirt on, it's like it sees right through your body. It's really kind of bizarre.
That's cool.
So maybe we should paint one of the walls blue.
Oh, something. Yeah.
We did that at our old house. I painted my office green.
Yeah.
Then we could just use the walls as a matte green, so we could use the walls as a green screen whenever we wanted to.
Cool.
That is cool.
And it was a nice shade that we both enjoyed the room. We're like, oh, yeah, that actually looks kind of nice, and it doubles as a green screen. So.
Yeah, now from my photography background, I can tell you this. If you paint your room green, it's going to give you a green tint on everything. So all you have to do is your lights that light you up, you just put a little magenta filtration and it will neutral that out for you.
Okay.
Good to know.
Because magenta is the exact opposite of green. If you just look at a color wheel, you can see it's the exact opposite. So you put that filtration over your lights, and that will equal you out. So you now look normal, and everything else is good.
Thank you.
So, well, that's a trick back from over 30 years ago for me.
So, John, you had mentioned when we were talking at the conference about a group of clients that you had met in Las Vegas, or that they are going to be needing Kartra services, follow-up, or consulting. Is that still in play, or what is your?
Yeah, actually, they started off using our site pop service. They gave me 10 clients right out of the gate, and we put them on site pop. And what they told me was, if that works well, they're going to give me 100 of them right behind that.
So tell us a little bit about.
And I can tell you, just in the last 3 days, it's already working. So
Wow, awesome.
I'm going to get that extra 100.
Tell us a little bit about SitePop and what the opportunities there may be.
Well, what SitePop is, it's a software that runs on mobile devices and desktop devices as well. And what it does, it communicates with our central server, and our server sends out jobs for it to do. And the primary job that it sends out is open up a web browser and run this search looking for this website. And if you don't find it, revise the search and add the brand of this company to the search phrase, so it comes up so you can find it. And then it clicks through, and what it's doing, it's sending signals to Google that there's people that know your brand in connection with that particular keyword, and that's what they were looking for. So what it's doing, it's training the artificial intelligence at Google that this site over here belongs at the top when people start running this search for this keyword. So it boosts rank like nothing I've ever seen before. It's taking advantage of Google's RankBrain algorithm, which is artificial intelligence. What Google's trying to do, they're trying to figure out the intent of a user so they can anticipate and make it easy on future users. Like if somebody comes in and they're looking for, they're looking to learn how to play the guitar, let's say, for instance, and they start running a search for learn how to play the guitar. Google knows from the thousands of users over the last 6 months that when somebody starts that search, ultimately they wind up discovering they need guitar lessons. So it will short circuit that. It will take all that learning curve out, and it will just start displaying those for you. So what this is my way to train Google that when somebody starts typing in a keyword I want to rank for, that I'm the one they're going to wind up on. And then eventually now Google will put me there for when all the hundreds of people in the future start typing that phrase.
So how do you sell that to potential clients, and what are these 100 people that they're sending you?
Well, we have 2 ways to sell it. We sell it as a service where we do it for the client as an SEO service. We call it a boost service, an SEO boost service. Okay. And what it'll do, it'll take all the keywords they're not ranking on the first page for, and it will boost them up on the first page where they belong, where they can actually get some search volume from it. And we also offer it as a SaaS software to agencies. And we sell it for a ridiculous price to the agencies because we want a lot of users in the network. We've populated thousands of these cell phone devices around the world now by offering it to agencies in different countries. So we have these things all over the world at this point.
So this is like white label?
Yeah, it's a white label. When you run it on your phone, it's an app on the phone. I'll just pull it up here so you can see. So it's running, it's showing the keywords here, and then down at the bottom, it'll show the agency details. Okay. So whatever agency is there, that's the white label for the agency. So the user, the customer can actually see the keyword tracking in real time right on their phone. So they can see this thing's working live.
So the client, basically, you enroll them in downloading the app as a white labeled scenario, and you say,
Mm-hmm.
your customer, we're going to get you ranked, and this is the app to track it so that you actually see results.
Yep, exactly. And you have to have an app in the system to get searches, because that's what the whole network is built off, is the devices to send the searches through. So if you don't have an app connected, you're not sending signals out to other people, so they're not going to be sending them for you. So what I do when I sell it as a service to clients, they don't know about the software, they just know about the app. What I do is I have an entire bank of cell phones over here to my right. It's an entire bank of cell phones, and I've got each one of my clients set up on their own cell phone. I buy cheap cell phones from Walmart and Target for $19.95 to $29.95, and I don't activate them. I just connect them to my Wi-Fi. So I don't have to pay cell service. It's just all running across Wi-Fi.
So what is the advantage of having it in multiple cell phones? If the customer, I mean, you ultimately want to have the customer see the results, not in your.
Correct. But a lot of times what will happen is they will not have their cell phone on. They might turn their cell phone off. And then all that time where it's not running, they're not getting the search credits. So I just run them so they've got it at least one connected 24/7, so they get the max search volume out of it.
So you put in the keywords for, say, fitness workout company in Burbank.
Yeah.
Have it in your house, but that drives traffic to their website?
Correct, because what it's doing, it's drawing searches from the entire network, not just the phone I connect them to. What it does is it looks for where the business is. It geolocates the business, and it'll look for the devices closest to that business to hit it the hardest from the core, and then it goes out in concentric circles in about 20-mile radius, and it hits them lighter and lighter on the way out.
So we're moving to Maine. I have a fitness company that is a client in Burbank. I buy a phone and then have it in Maine, but drive traffic to Burbank?
Yeah, because it's not coming off your phone, it's coming off phones in the network. Your phone just becomes part of the network. But that company in Burbank, they'll be getting hit from phones near Burbank.
And anybody who searches for workout, fitness, or whatever, it comes up directly on their phones in that proximity.
So if my wife and I go to Burbank to have lunch with her family, which we do from time to time, if I from my phone search on fitness, I say I want to look for someplace to get my daily workout in before we go to lunch, that would activate that?
Well, if you had our app on your phone, just because you were in the area, you don't have to run the search. It does all that automatically. It does it all in the background.
So you're saying it just pops up an ad that says, hey, check out.
No, it pulls up, it does this on a headless browser, so the user with the phone never sees what's going on. But behind the scenes, the phone will pull up a headless browser, and it will pull up Google, and it'll run a search for a keyword. And if it doesn't find the site it's looking for, it revises the search to add the company's brand, so they will come up in the next search. And by doing that, you're telling Google, hey, Google, you didn't give me what I wanted. Let me be more specific. And Google doesn't like that because they don't like to be called dumb. So it trains them, and it knows, okay, well, next time when somebody starts running that search, I know now what they want. So here, boom, right to the top.
Okay, so say I've got...
It's a good thing I'm not evil.
And what was the thing that you were talking about, a geocache?
Oh, that deserves a whole hour conversation in itself. I will hit that for you guys, but it's phenomenal technology. Just like a overview, is we have the ability to use satellites that are in space to geo-target any place on the planet, however big a place we want. And any cell phone that enters that area, we can actually get the cell phone ID and we take that to a big data service, and we know now who that is, what emails it belongs to, all of that, what browsers it uses. And when that person goes back to their home browser, we can put ads on their home browser because we know from their phone who they are.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it's diabolical.
Well, I've had situations where I'm in a conversation with someone, and I get home and there's a video from YouTube
Yeah.
of someone talking about what I was talking about.
Or an ad for Amazon.
Yeah, that's Alexa listening.
It's what?
That's Alexa listening. But we could literally, like, if there was a trade show going on in
No, but I don't have Alexa here.
Well, your phone listens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's all built in there. But let's say there was a trade show going on in Brisbane, Australia, and I geolocate that conference center, and I start picking up cell phone IDs of everyone that's walking that show floor. Now they fly home all over the world, and I know who they all are, and I can run ads to them. Say, hey, you missed us at the show. Here's a link to our special offer you missed because you didn't see our booth at the show.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
for example, I'm going to be doing a series of, I have a press pass for a trade show in Long Beach this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'll be doing walk and talk interviews, which will then broadcast somewhere down the road. We'll broadcast.
Yeah,
so I could push the ads for the broadcast out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You could send everyone that was on that trade show floor a link to watch your videos.
And does it go to their as a search browser or an email, or how does it get?
What it would do, it would show up just like a normal ad network. Like, so if you went to CNN or whatever and they display ads, banner ads and stuff, that's where you'd be showing up. So it's like a media buy.
Okay.
So media buy specific to locality of interest.
Yeah, it's by far, I mean, the site pop software is pretty awesome. It's pretty diabolical.
So
But
this
it's got nothing to this.
So SitePop is the geocaching?
No, it's a different platform.
SitePop is the search signals to train Google's algorithm.
Okay.
I mean, that's the kind of shit I sit up late at night thinking about.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about my book, to put an ad about my book. So anyone that actually enters a specific art store, like an art supply store.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that later, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, I'll do a whole webinar on that. You can see
That's a good.
exactly how it works.
How much is the media buy typically for that geocache scenario? So say
You should
for the LA car show or something like that.
You should probably consider at least $1,000 a month for the ad spend.
That's for our cost or the customer that we would,
Yeah, that would be your cost.
Okay, 1,000.
And then you can mark that up. I mean, customers will pay thousands of dollars for that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's gold.
Yeah, that's like, there's nothing like it. That's two things I've got in my tool belt that no one else has.
The media buy $1,000 per month that we mark up to targeted users.
Yeah, we just haven't really released that geofencing one yet, but you guys will be the first to know about it.
Okay, yeah, my business partner would be very interested in that.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of people going to be very interested in that. All right, guys.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can I ask a little bit different question?
Sure.
Might be kind of quick. This just came up this morning. We're considering, we do our show a 1 hour block. So I've got 1 hour of airtime and I can distribute that however I want to. Right now we're just doing a monthly 1 hour. And we're considering breaking that into 2 half-hour segments and do it, twice a month.
Okay.
for SEO optimization and grab on the internet? Would it be, is there an advantage for us to do that? To put the content out there more frequently, or is it really more about how we're marketing the show?
Well, if you have smaller bites of video and they lead from one to the next, and you can get people to click at the end of the video. So part of that would be how you position the video, like saying, okay, to see part 2, where you're going to learn X, Y, and Z, make it really benefit oriented, so they actually click the button to watch the next video. That's very helpful for SEO, because not only is it keeping them time on site, it's getting them clicking deeper. It's another engagement signal.
Okay, thank you.
So, all right, guys, I got to wrap up. I got to hop on another webinar we're doing with a couple other providers, but we're going to be off next week because Thanksgiving. So I will see you guys back the first week in December.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.